Hey everyone, and welcome back to the EMT Spot's Blood Pressure Podcast. I'm Samuel Harrison.
And I'm Olivia Harper.
And Olivia, are you ready for a deep dive into something that's both delicious
Always?
and potentially good for our blood pressure?
Oh, absolutely, Samuel. I'm always up for a good health mystery. What have you got for us today?
Okay, so today we're talking about cocoa,
Ooh, as in chocolate.
as in chocolate.
Okay.
But before you run off to grab a candy bar, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what the science actually says.
Okay.
Especially for those of you out there who are keeping a close eye on your blood pressure.
Right, separating the facts from the hype.
Yes.
Because while chocolate itself might not be a health food, there's a component in cocoa
Okay.
that has researchers pretty excited these days.
Okay, spill the beans. What is this magical ingredient?
It's called cocoflavanols.
Cocoflavanols.
And get this, they're not just antioxidants.
Oh.
They can actually signal your blood vessels to relax,
Wow.
which directly helps lower blood pressure.
So they're impacting the blood vessels.
Exactly. It's like a natural way to ease tension in your arteries.
That's pretty impressive. So it's not just about chocolate being a treat.
Right.
It's about these flavanols actually having a physiological effect on our bodies.
Exactly. And you know what's even cooler?
What?
There's research suggesting that these flavanols can impact arterial stiffness too.
Okay, now hold on.
Imagine your arteries becoming more flexible, able to handle blood flow better.
For those of us
That's what these flavanols might be doing.
who aren't cardiologists,
Yeah,
what exactly does arterial stiffness mean, and why should we care?
that's a great question. Samuel, arterial stiffness basically refers to how flexible your arteries are.
Okay,
And if they're too stiff, it makes it harder for blood to flow,
got it.
which can raise your blood pressure. So anything that helps improve that flexibility could be a good thing.
Okay, so these flavanols sound promising,
They do.
but what kind of evidence are we talking about here? Is this just based on people saying they feel better
Right.
after a cup of hot cocoa?
Well, there's actual research being done. Okay.
One recent study looked at this very question. They had 11 healthy adults alternate between taking cocoflavanol capsules and placebos over 8 days.
Okay.
And get this, they monitored their blood pressure and arterial stiffness continuously
Continue.
throughout the entire study.
So they were basically tracking how their bodies responded in real time.
Yes.
Exactly.
And what did they find?
The results were actually pretty remarkable.
Right.
They found that the cocoflavanols were effective in lowering blood pressure and reducing arterial stiffness in these individuals.
Wow.
And even though this was a small study,
Right.
and in a controlled environment, seeing any effect in just 8 days is pretty amazing, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
if it had that kind of impact in a short time, just imagine the potential long-term benefits for people struggling with high blood pressure.
Exactly. And here's another fascinating tidbit from this study.
Okay.
It seems that cocoflavanols only lower blood pressure when it's elevated.
Wait, really? So it's like they have a built-in safety mechanism that's incredibly interesting. Yeah.
Right? It's like they target the problem without causing blood pressure to dip too low, which can be a concern with some blood pressure medications.
Okay.
This suggests that cocoflavanols might offer a more tailored approach to blood pressure management.
Okay, that's definitely got my attention. But before we get too carried away with the chocolate dreams,
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's more to this story.
You bet. You know,
Yeah.
remember this was a small
study.
short-term study.
Long-term study.
We need more research to understand the long-term effects and how this might translate to real-world scenarios.
Real-world scenarios, for sure.
Plus, we can't forget that most chocolate is loaded with sugar and fat,
Right.
which can have their own downsides.
That's a good point. So while we're excited about the potential of cocoflavanols,
Yes.
we need to be realistic and understand the nuances. But this whole thing about personalized health monitoring,
No.
that's really cool, right? Being able to track your body's responses in such detail.
Absolutely. It's like getting a peek behind the curtain of your own health, and it highlights the incredible potential for personalized care using technology to tailor treatments to our unique needs.
This is all incredibly fascinating.
It is.
But hold on, there's more to this story than just popping cocoa capsules.
Lots more.
We'll dive into that and what it means for your blood pressure management right after this.
Welcome back, everyone. We're in the middle of uncovering some really interesting stuff about cocoa and its potential role in blood pressure management.
Yeah, and before the break, we were talking about how this research, while promising, doesn't mean we should all start eating chocolate with reckless abandon.
That's key. You see, the study we discussed used those concentrated cocoflavanol capsules, not your average chocolate bar.
Right. I know some of you out there might be a bit bummed by that, but
Yeah.
can you explain why? What's the difference?
Well, think about your favorite chocolate treat. It's delicious, right?
Oh, yeah.
But chances are it also comes with a hefty dose of sugar and fat. And those can actually work against your blood pressure goals,
Uh-huh.
potentially negating any benefits you might get from those flavanols.
Ah, so it's not as simple as just saying chocolate is good for blood pressure.
Right.
It's about understanding the specific components and how they interact.
Exactly. It's about those cocoa flavanols and isolating their effects.
So where does that leave us? Is this whole cocoa thing just hype? Or could it realistically play a role in managing blood pressure down the line?
I think it's way too early to write it off. Remember, this is a pretty new area of research.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot we don't know, but these early findings are definitely intriguing and they deserve more attention.
You're right. Sometimes the most unexpected discoveries lead to the biggest breakthroughs. We can't just dismiss something because it sounds unconventional.
I completely agree. And if you really think about it, using natural substances for medicinal purposes is nothing new. It's been going on for centuries.
Right.
So it's totally possible that cocoa, or at least specific compounds found in cocoa, could become a part of how we manage blood pressure in the future.
That's a fascinating thought.
Yeah.
It opens up so many possibilities for more personalized
Right.
and maybe even more effective treatments.
Precisely. Imagine a world where doctors could tailor treatments based on not just your health condition, but also your lifestyle, genetics, and maybe even your taste buds.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you love dark chocolate.
Uh-huh.
Great. Let's see how we can incorporate that into your blood pressure plan.
Now, that would be pretty awesome. It really highlights the potential of this whole personalized medicine movement.
It does, and it underscores why staying informed and engaged with your own health is so important. Asking questions, being curious, and being open to new discoveries.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh.
But while we wait for more research to unfold and tell us just how powerful these cocoa flavanols really are, let's not forget that there are already proven ways to keep our blood pressure in check.
Absolutely. We can't rely on a potential future treatment taking action today is what matters.
Right, so for all of you listening, let's talk about those tried and true methods for maintaining healthy blood pressure.
Yeah.
What are some things we can do right now to make a difference?
Well, first and foremost, it's about making those lifestyle changes we've all heard about, but sometimes struggle to stick with things like losing weight if you need to,
Yep.
eating a healthy diet that's low in salt and saturated fat, getting regular exercise. These are all key players in the blood pressure game.
Okay, so those are the big ones, but are there any specific dietary recommendations you could share?
Sure.
Things that people can start implementing today.
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. There are actually some fantastic heart-healthy diets out there that have been shown to be super beneficial for blood pressure. Have you ever heard of the DSH diet?
The DSH diet. I feel like I've heard that name before, but could you refresh my memory?
Of course. The DSH diet stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. It focuses on foods that naturally lower blood pressure, like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and low-fat dairy.
Okay.
And it encourages you to cut back on things like saturated fat, cholesterol, and sodium.
So it's basically a way of eating that's designed to support healthy blood pressure.
You got it. And it's not just about lowering blood pressure. The DHH diet is great for overall cardiovascular health.
That's awesome. Are there any other diets like that you'd recommend?
Another popular one is the Mediterranean diet. It emphasizes fruits, veggies, whole grains, olive oil, fish, and nuts. It's all about those delicious heart-healthy fats and antioxidants.
Both of those diets sound fantastic, and they both seem to highlight the importance of whole, unprocessed foods.
Right on it. It's about focusing on those nutrient-rich foods that are naturally good for you and your blood pressure. And, it's really interesting to think about how these dietary approaches might complement the potential benefits of those cocoa flavanols we were talking about earlier.
Now that's an interesting thought. Could there be a synergy there? Maybe future research will shed some light on that.
Maybe there's so much still to learn, but one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
Taking a holistic approach to your health, combining smart lifestyle choices with the latest scientific advancements is a winning formula.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, there's another crucial point we need to address, and it's something that applies whether we're talking about diet, exercise, or potential future treatments like those cocoa flavanols. What is it, Olivia?
It's the importance of working with your healthcare professional.
Ah, yes.
They are your partner in this journey, and they can help you create a plan that's tailored to your individual needs and circumstances.
That's so important. You're absolutely right. It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of new discoveries or the latest health trends. But at the end of the day,
Right.
the best approach is one that's personalized and guided by a qualified medical professional.
Exactly. They can help you assess your risk factors, make sure any changes you're making are safe for you, and monitor your progress along the way. It's a team effort.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into cocoa and blood pressure, let's leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Could personalized nutrition, incorporating things like cocoa flavanols, become a standard part of managing blood pressure in the future? It's certainly something to ponder as we continue to explore the fascinating connection between food and health.
That's a great question to leave our listeners with, Samuel. It certainly gives us all something to think about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of cocoa and blood pressure. I'm Samuel Harrison,
And I'm Olivia Harper.
and you've been listening to the TheEMTSpot's Blood Pressure Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode with anyone who might be interested in learning more about this fascinating topic. Until next time, stay curious and stay healthy.